So here's the comment. M. Vincent, I've heard but can't understand how to keep my Bitcoin and also use it for retirement income in the future. So here's what I would say to you, because this would be applicable to most people watching this show, is that keep whatever Bitcoin you have in self-custody, plan on keeping that forever. Or not all of it. You might spend 5%, 2% of it at some point through time, whatever that is. It really depends on where things go here, I think. But what you can do is you can buy things like a Bitcoin ETF. You can buy things like Strategy. You can buy things like Strife or Strike or the Misty. And that's pretty much how I plan on funding my retirement. It's still hooked up to Bitcoin. It's still on the Bitcoin train, but it's going to be much easier for you to access, and you're not going to have to KYC or part with your Bitcoin there. So that's kind of what I've been doing. And I would not recommend anybody selling their Bitcoin to buy these products. Don't do that. Bitcoin is the asset that you want. It is the asset that everybody's going to want. And there's only so many sats that can go around. There's only going to be so many sats that exist. So that's the asset that you want. Bitcoin in self-custody is the asset that you want. But if you have any money stuck in a pension, stuck in a retirement fund, put that into Strategy, put that into Strike. And that's what I plan on using in the future. If I have to sell some, if I can live off the dividends off it, that way I don't have to touch my Bitcoin stack. So I recently bought a little bit of Strike, like the preferred shares of Strategy, because it's basically my bet on the old system existing in a couple decades from now. Because if it is, and Bitcoin does what I expect it to, those shares and those dividends are going to be able to pay for me to live. If the old system dies, I still have my Bitcoin. The majority of my stuff is in Bitcoin, but it's still nice to have some products in that. And some people might tell you, well, you can lend against your Bitcoin. You can, and better products will come around. I don't think we're there yet, but you will be able to go down to your local bank and they're actually going to beg you to deposit your Bitcoin with them and give you whatever dollar we're using at that time. So I don't think it's anything to worry about. I don't know what age you are, but we're not quite there yet in terms of being able to use Bitcoin as retirement. But it is going to be the asset that everybody uses for retirement in one way or the other. But if you can kind of pre-plan for that and you can have a little bit of options and exposure to a couple different products, some in the old system, some in self-custody, that's how you're really going to set yourself up for the future. So that's the mixture that I suggest people have, is the majority of Bitcoin in cold storage that you're never going to touch. That's kind of like buying an oceanfront property for your family, or like a couple sections of land for your family. That's your Bitcoin in self-custody. That's what never leaves. That's what you protect with your life. But then you use some of your existing funds in a retirement, in a pension, your work fund, whatever it is. That's what you apply to Strategy, Strike, Strife, Misty, whatever you want to do there. But that's how I plan to fund my retirement with Bitcoin. It's not going to be selling sats. I might part with like 5% of it over time, just where I can transact privately, peer to peer. But for the most part, and I might spend more than that, but I'm always going to replenish it, right? That's the idea there. It's not like I have my Bitcoin stack and for the rest of my life, I'm only going to spend 5% of that. No, over time, I'm going to have to spend less sats because the value of those sats are going to go up. And if I need to, I'm just going to buy more. Like if I needed to buy new tires and the tire shop accepted Bitcoin, I would pay in Bitcoin, but then I would buy the Bitcoin that I was going to spend my money on anyways. So spend and replace. That's the best advice that I can give you with